You scroll, you scroll, and you scroll, page after page, searching for the right Notion dashboard to solve all of your problems, telling yourself that it can't be that hard to find a powerful yet easy to use operating system for a reasonable price. Well, the wait is over, and now it's here, and it's only $12. Everyday OS, a powerful yet easy to use Notion dashboard that not only includes a fully automatic interface updated with all of Notion 2.0, the anticipated GitHub calendar, but 25 plus intricately designed mini dashboards within the operating system itself. And at the end of this video, you'll know how the system works, how to navigate through the system, and the power that this operating system really holds. So if we take a look at the home dashboard, a key part that I always take into consideration is that everything can stay stagnant. And what I mean by that is you never want to say, add a morning routine like this and have the page stretch itself in a way that you weren't expecting. This will really throw off the flow. And at the end of the day, you'll just have a lot more going on and a lot more to keep track of that's totally unnecessary. So in order to combat this, the whole dashboard is made entirely of navigation, habit trackers, and this one really complex database that I call the master database. This thing basically hosts everything within the template. It connects to every single database, and basically every single property that you would ever need is rolled up into one view. If I scroll all the way down here, you can see that everything you'll need is in the home base and the overview relating to personal projects and content, with integrated database buttons to add a new task or content while scrolling through the homepage. So now that you have a good idea of why I do what I do with my dashboards, we're now going to split it up into 3 sections. Section 1, Section 2, and Section 3. But in order to keep this video the most effective and streamlined as possible, we're actually going to start with Section 2 first. So if we scroll down, we can see that Section 2 consists of 2 different things. The first of which would be the master view sections that are located one on the left over here and one on the right side over here. You can see that both of them, although the same database, are displaying different properties in their respective gallery views. And just a disclaimer in case you wanted to add or remove any of the current properties that are within the gallery view currently, all you would have to do is go to the little 3 dots in the top right of the database and then go to properties and just say I wanted to remove the journal entry label from saying journal entries completed 0 of 2. All I would have to do is take that and drag that to be hidden in the gallery. And as you can see on the left, it just disappears. So now that would work in the opposite way as well, as if I wanted to throw birthday labels at the bottom. You can see that over here, Justin Time's birthday is today. Also, if we click back into the property section, you can see that we have a property that says update trackers. This is basically just a formula that says whenever it's the first 3 days of the month, a little code will pop up at the bottom here, just telling you to update the habit trackers within the database. And there are a lot of videos out there that will tell you just to go into like the habit tracker page, like create a new month, and then go into the templates themselves, click into say Monday, and then change the month for each of the templates so that when the reoccurring day pops up, that it's auto linked to the new month. I actually find this to be a little tedious. Although it does just take a few minutes, here and there, I would have to do it for like 3 different habit trackers. So what I do is I just created this relations overview button. So when I click into this, you can actually just click on the month at the very top, remove it, add the month in which you want. So say we add March, or actually we'll add April so it's easy to see. And then I just drag this blue box all the way down. And then everything will just change in one go to April. So if I go in, I back out of this page, which there's also back buttons inserted into every page as well. That'll bring you back to either the last page you came to or the Everyday OS homepage. If we just scroll back down, you can see that there's the daily non-negotiables, the morning routine, and the daily shutdown. These two middle habit trackers are actually just accessed through their original pages right here. And the daily non-negotiables is just one half scroll down to this page, and that'll access a very similar, if not almost identical view, just so everything stays streamlined. And when you're visiting each habit tracker, you're not getting confused. Although each weekly percentage is colored differently to somewhat specify what page you're actually on. So now that we have an overview of section 2, I just want to quickly give a rundown of section 3 before we really get into the meat and potatoes of the operating system, which would be section 1. So if we pop on over to section 3, you currently see that it may look a little confusing at first glance. But in reality, this section is only made up of 3 different working parts. And one of those 3 parts we already went over, which would be the home base and the overview, which are just different sections of the master view that we looked at earlier. And right above that, you can currently see we have our database that revolves around work-life balance. This is a specialized dashboard view that is also synced over here on the right to show the very anticipated GitHub dashboard calendar, which if you are into recreating, I'm going to be posting a full in-depth tutorial of exactly how I created that calendar and how to get you on your way to recreating that for yourself. Like I said, I'm going to go more in depth in the video that's coming out this week on the GitHub calendar, but all you really need to know is when you complete one of the habits for the day, all you have to do is click this database button, and if you can see, this unfilled circle will then fill in itself. And if I go ahead and click all of the other 3, you can currently see that in order, all 3 of them will check for that current day. On top of that, if we hop back over to the calendar section of the work-life balance, you can see that nothing really happened. But if we click into one of the sections and then click view details in this top right, you can see that I've also formulated another month. This is to give you as the user a variety of calendars. So if I were to come into the properties right here and find the one that says month, you can see that if I drag that up to the top, I will also get a different type of calendar that gives a checkbox that is also linked to the corresponding database button in this database as well. And I doubt you'll ever have to go into the actual database, but my quick little trick is to click this little icon right here, and then you can actually just open the source database, or it'll show you the name of it on the right as well. So you can see this is the habit tracker that goes along with the GitHub calendar, and this actually is also the habit tracker as well, but just in a different linked view. So now if we take a look back at section 3, we've gone over the master view down here in the bottom left, the GitHub calendar over here on the right, and the corresponding colored calendar above over here. The last 2 things that would leave are the 5 pages sitting at the top and these 3 buttons above the calendar. Once you explore the template, you'll see that the welcome page and the calendar HQ are both replaceable just in case you had some of your own templates from another dashboard that you wanted to implement into this one. It would give you a couple spots right off the bat without having to rearrange everything from the beginning. Now, when formulating this dashboard, I took a lot of things into consideration. So over here, you'll find 3 different buttons. The first button we'll look at is the Habit Records button. This is a simple button which in one click is going to give you a center peek of the ED/EOS habits record, which if I back out is actually going to be the database that connects all of the entries that go into this database right here. So basically, in order for each one of these calendars to get colored differently and record a record, we need to use a database in the background that is able to log each entry during the day and then reference it back over here. And all of that is done by connecting this database plus the habits record, which, as you can see, is already displaying the 4 records that we clicked from earlier. But all you got to know is that whenever you click a button, the system just works. You don't got to worry about it. You don't got to double check it. You don't got to be hovering all over the databases looking for different properties. This system was built to get in and get out, but also built with automations so that this system would be the most efficient as possible. So now that we have a solid understanding of how Section 3 works, the last thing I want to show you is just the journal and the brain dumps page. So basically, if I clicked into the journal, this is just your simple journal entries page, but it's also preloaded over here with a ton of different Notion templates. So if I click into something over here, like daily shutdown, you'll see that I've already come up with an entire template of things to answer at the end of the day. Make sure that you wrap up all your tasks and really are prepared to get after it tomorrow. And if I hit this back button right here, scroll down, and then click on brain dump, at first glance, you might kind of think like what's going on, but this is just an interesting type of spacing that I've used. It's including a 5-column layout with a middle page design that's just spacing everything in the right spot in order to give a more website-like appeal. But other than that, the page runs pretty much the same as the others, as they all have integrated buttons that say, when the button is clicked, we're going to add a page to the brain dumps. We're going to name it New Self Thought, and then we're going to open that page in a center peak. If I click into the brain dump page, you'll currently see that all of your thoughts are there, your favorite ideas, and anything that you had in the recent uploads will populate here for you to just click the little drop down box in case you were curious what you were writing in the other sections. Now that we've tackled sections 2 and 3, really time to take a deep dive into section 1 so you can get a full understanding how powerful this dashboard really is. So at first glance, you're going to notice 2 different things. A row of 5 buttons at the top, and then a navigation database right underneath. The navigation database is filled with all of the pages and subpages that make this operating system run as effective as it does. And the 5 buttons at the very top represent your life areas within the Notion dashboard. So basically, if I were to click on this button in the top right, this is going to bring me to the entire areas database page, in which I have now access to the admin dashboard, the operations page, and everything else that gets added to or is already in this section of the workspace. As you can see right underneath, I've left a little call out box that says that life areas are built to reflect your world. They're meant to represent the major parts of your life, like health, work, personal growth, and more. So I've included examples to get you started, but feel free to rename, remove, or create new ones that fit your lifestyle. This is basically just saying that I can't create a template that's going to suit everyone's life area needs. One person might be extremely into books, and the next might be really into gardening. The third might really want to be a solo entrepreneur. And that's all right, because the template is pre-set up for almost everything you need to get started right off the bat. There's the admin dashboard that if I click on it right now, you'll see you have access to personal tasks, your non-negotiable percentages for the entire week. It also has not only integrated buttons that will mark all of your habits for today. As you see, the Sunday just went to 100%. If I exit that out, you can see the percentage change in real time. But I can also mark the habit and then reset it in real time as well. The admin dashboard is really supposed to represent the life area that holds personal stuff to you. So I've included all tasks, upcoming subscriptions, today's workouts, and just anything and everything that the dashboard holds that you might really need access to in one view. And once again, if we scroll up, We have a full integrated button that's going to bring us back to the recent page, and then another one that's going to bring us back to the home page. My goal in that was to give it as much of a website feel as possible. Also for easy navigation for those people who don't have like an integrated mouse with like a button to go back, or the ability to just avoid consistently scrolling and clicking the back button in the top left of your screen. I find it really easy to navigate and just really easy to make my way around the entire workspace itself. And now that you got a good look at the areas dashboard, you can currently see that the three buttons over here at the top of the page just link to some of the areas that are currently within this page itself. So as you can see, there's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 pages that currently are within the areas dashboard. But if I back out, all I see is the admin dash, the operations. Those are the three that I personally use the most. But the easiest way to change it would just be to hit this gear icon right here and change the open page to whichever one that you're looking for, either inside of the dashboard, outside of the dashboard, or you could just link it to a website elsewhere. So now that you have a solid overview of how the life areas work, I'm just going to quickly run over a couple of them just to give you an example of how they work and flow throughout the dashboard. So this is the operations page. Over here, you're going to see that I've already preloaded linked page views to the projects and the task list. Above, you'll be able to see the current project that you're working on, along with all of the active tasks that go along with this project. So let's just say I click on the YouTube example. I go into the task list, right? So right now we see that this is currently in progress. If I were to click on this task that you see right here, I move this to not started, you'll see that it disappears from the active task. This might get a little confusing at first, as you'll know that you have tasks within your project, but you're not seeing them here. So in order to combat this, just go into the projects, go to your task, and this is only going to show whichever one is in progress. Along with the active task, you're also going to see underneath it says project notes. This is actually its own database. So if I scroll back up and I click back into the YouTube example project, all I'm going to do is go into the tabbed view of content, which is the original properties of this project itself. I'm going to scroll down to the inserted databases within the project. And here you'll see that notes and client feedback both live at the bottom of this page. So anytime a new thought comes up regarding, the project, all you have to do is click new note. You can type in, example, and then put whatever note you want in this section right here. I exit out of this. I can now come to project notes. You'll see that I have an example note and it's already attached to the YouTube example project. And just a heads up, all of the databases come with preloaded database buttons. This just makes the flow of everything so much easier. So for example, if I click into one of the active tasks and I go into the customized layout over here at the top, you'll see that the in progress automation currently says that when the button is clicked, the do action is to edit this page and change the status to in progress. So now that we've gone over the admin dashboard and the operations page, we're going to view the content growth area. Now, this page right here is definitely situational. Not everyone's going to need it, but I use it almost every single day. And those who do make content, whether it's for something like YouTube, Instagram, a personal business, or just for yourself, it shows you how many videos you've posted and how well they've done over the years. If you scroll down a little bit, you can also see that there's a database that tells you what you're currently editing and what's currently scheduled for posting. And if we look over here on the right, we have an entire database setup just focused on content growth. And if I click into say, hit 50 followers on YouTube, you can see that there's a current label that's formulated into Notion, along with a progress bar, an expected progress bar, current metrics, timeframes, database buttons, and more. And if I click out of here, you can see that the entire system in the content growth is filled out from the calendar, the links, and everything running down the list from analytics and even tracking brands and sponsors and exactly how much you've made from all of that over the years as well. A couple additions you'll find to the content area is the buttons down here in the bottom left. Just gives you the ability to add a piece of content, log a post, add an affiliate, some feedback, or a brand deal or sponsor that you haven't already added, or you currently just want to update the information for. I want to make this video as efficient as possible. So regarding the digital products and the finance sections, I'm just going to leave it at not everyone and most people don't have digital products. And at least for me, I don't track my master finances in Notion as I feel like there's a couple other apps that, link to my credit and debit cards and can just do that a lot better. Although I do track subscriptions in the finances, and I do have a nice little overview of exactly what I'm paying for. I don't want to spend too much time on these two areas as not everyone's going to be taking advantage of them. But if you do use them and you want a little more in-depth video, just comment digital products or finances down in the comment section below, and I'll make sure to drop an in-depth tutorial on exactly how both of these pages work, how to utilize them to the best of your ability, to make sure that your productivity is at the maximum potential. And the final two areas are going to be the future achievements and the completed section. So if I just quickly go into future achievements, you'll see that we have another database that tracks progress and expected progress. This one's going to be more for life goals, although I do have my content goals in here as well. These are just meant to be personalized for you, so feel free to go in and edit these however you want. And then if I back out, the final area we'll check into is the completed section. This is the most basic section of all of the areas. And here you'll find all of your done tasks, completed projects, and archived projects if you weren't trying to go into the source database itself. Now, this could be really important because if you were trying to look at completed tasks alongside the done tasks as well at the same time, this gives you the ability to check everything at once and not be stuck in one database view, having to bounce back and forth between the two. Now that you have a general understanding of how sections 2 and 3 work, it's time to really dive into the most powerful part of the system. This is going to include the navigation at the very top of the homepage. So as you can see, we currently have 8 different pages that when put together formulate all the information that puts this operating system together. And the main aspect, and one of my favorite pages in this entire dashboard, is going to be the task list over here. So as you can see from first glance, there's a decent amount going on, but once I really break it down, you'll see how simple and efficient this page can really be. So if we start at the top left, we'll see that once again, there's going to be 3 fully integrated buttons that allows you to streamline the process just in one click. If we make our way to the right, we're going to see a due soon category. And we're going to get into the powerful formula that makes this linked view work so well. But to start, all you got to know is that if we click into the filter right over here on the right, you're going to see that this is set, the deadline start date is relative to today, this week, and also where the start date is before today. So this not only allows us to view all of our tasks, whether personal content or project that are due within the week, but I've also matched a formula into the filters as well so that you see anything that is past due and it populates in red. If you want to take a little look at the formula, this is what it consists of. I wouldn't even bother trying to read it. I've vibe coded the entire dashboard over the last 6 months to a year. So everything in here, I can basically tell you what to do and you could probably figure it out. But I've been told over the last couple of months that the formulas generated from AI, although they work, don't look the nicest. So just running through this, it's probably not the prettiest code, but hey, like I said earlier, everything works and it works really well. And if I click out of this, I also added formula instructions in a little toggle just so you can get a visual of exactly what's going on within that code. So just so you have an overview of exactly what's going on and not just words on the page, I'm going to take this YouTube example task, which we can also see in the due soon category up above. We're going to then come over here to where it says due today, bold red if it's exactly today. And that's going to tell us why that this labeling is red saying due today. Now, from my knowledge of this dashboard, I already know that this is going to be bolded red until 3 to 5 days left. So if I were to say take this and move this to 1, 2, 3, 4 days over, I can tell you already that this is going to change from bolded red to bolded black. And not only is it going to change in this section right here, okay, it's bolded white because sometimes I work in light mode, but you can see that not only did it turn white here, but it also turned white here. And that just references back to the one database video that I posted on how this is just a linked view of how the due soon, the table view of the calendar, and the no due date are all just linked views of the same database. So just to give you a full overview of the page, if I were to click this button to add a new personal task, you can see that the status is already set to not started and the type is already set to personal. If I go ahead and name this page YouTube example task and exit out, you can see that it's no longer going to be populating in the due soon category as the task we just added currently has no due date. And this is one of my favorite parts of the system, as at first glance, you're able to see what's prioritized and what's not, but at the same time, in a really aesthetic split with an easy drag and drop interface. And as you can see, as I just dropped the YouTube example into May 7th, it automatically assigned May 7th to that task and then formulated an overdue label, letting me know that this task is overdue and needs to be done. Now, the drag and drop interface is really cool because if I were to then drag this to today, you can see that the label changed to today in both spots at the top and the bottom. And this is just going to keep going as you drag it around the system. So now, as you can see, we're at 7 days left, 8 days left, and it's just going to keep going until you click into the task and then send it to done. That done database button is going to set the status and priority to both completed and done, but at the same time, clear it from the task list, opening up more space, just streamlining your workflow even more. There's also this button I made called refresh unassigned tasks. That just corresponds to this no assignment section, which can be accessed from either the toggle or these are actually links to the page itself. So as you can see, I have get YouTube video ready and the thumbnail with no assignments, and you might be wondering what that means. So if you look over here, it has no project link and it says it's content type. But when I click into the task itself and you look at the link relations, it says that it's not connected to a project or a piece of content. So right here, this is the database in which you would go to just to make sure that everything is assigned to each other and nothing gets lost in translation. I found that using Notion in the past, I've had stuff get lost in databases. Really make sure that everything is in the right place. And if it's not, it's going to be in that no assignments page. Now, if we just scroll back up to the top, we get another button, and I'm going to show you how everything in the projects page now currently links to everything that we just looked at in the task. So if I click on projects, you're going to see that it opens up into what I think is a very aesthetically looking setup for a projects page. You'll notice right at the top, we have buttons to add projects, notes, client feedback, and a relationship overview button that will basically just show you the name of the project and let you easily link it to an area within your dashboard. If I back out, this view also shows the current project you're working on in a very nice gallery view that has the start date, the end date, how far along you are with the task within that specific project. And with one click of a button, you can send this project all the way to the completed project section down here in the bottom right. You'll see that currently the YouTube example has 4 days remaining and I can send it back to in progress. And if I go back to the current page, then you can see that this is the same project with remaining days 4 left. And now the status type is in progress. I can just bounce this around through the top like we went over earlier, making everything easy and also moving the tasks along with it as well. So if I back out of this, you'll also find on the left side that I have the project task and that this database is filtered to show the current task within the project shown on the home screen right here. So if I were to click into the project and then go over to the tabbed view where it says task list, we see a review on this template, please, would be one of the tasks. You know, if you could leave a review, that'd be great. Now, if we were to move this to in progress, you can immediately see how that pops over to the left side. And if I send that to not started, you can see the status changing and it immediately leaving the current task list on the left side over here as well. So I'm just going to send this back to done, close this up. And now we can explore some of these bottom page options that I've added as well. Most of these are self-explanatory, like the not started, the all projects, archived, and completed. But the two in the middle for project notes might be a tad bit confusing, but basically all you have to know is that when there's a project here, those two databases are just the two that are going to be generating down here. This is going to make sure that anytime you take a note inside of this project, so say we name this MMM, and then we come over here and we add a new note called MM, and then client feedback, we'll call that M, right? Now, if we come out of the project, we go into project notes, we'll see that project MMM has a name of M. And then if we go into the client feedback, we'll see that the project MMM has the name M. And if we pop back over to the projects page, that's basically it in an overview. Very powerful, very efficient, and made to get in and get out, track your projects, and not feel the need to spend hours within your dashboard. Also, a little overview of the properties. If you click inside the projects, I've made it really easy for you to realize what's going on within the database. So you currently have 4 buttons at the top, pretty self-explanatory. The remaining days is a formula that is going to, take everything within the dashboard and pull it into this. We have the status, the type, the timeline, and the budget. We also have this one section right here where it's anything like areas, contacts, or anything you got to like manually insert. Also, we have the finance view. So this is actually a budget tracking system for your projects. This will track the amount of budget, the balance, and everything that goes along with knowing exactly what's going on within your project. All of that information is going to be formulated and rolled up into easy views so it's accessible at all points while viewing the dashboard. And just so I don't forget, if you click over here into the properties list and there's a property that you see but you can't find it in here, it's most likely in the view in details section. I made this specifically for every single database with all of the formulas that are more of just labels, but I've also added the relations to this as well. So you might be thinking, well, I might need to connect something to the master view, right? And no, you actually don't, because anything that gets added as a project will automatically connect itself to all of these relations as you can see it happening in real time. And that's the real power of Notion automations and why free users have the best ability when they go ahead and purchase a template that's made from a paid creator. So now that you have an understanding of how the projects page works, we're going to pop back over to the dashboard homepage. We're going to go look at the content HQ. Now, at first glance, you might be like, whoa, this looks oddly familiar to the last page that we were just on. And that's because when I was building this dashboard, I wanted to make sure that every single user felt like they knew where they were and what was going on at every point while they were navigating this operating system. I never wanted you to feel like you were moving around and there was 30, 40 different pages and your head was just all over the place. So some of the dashboards actually look very similar because they all keep the very same streamlined workflow that I found to be the most efficient and effective when I was creating new projects and pieces of content. So just because this page runs very similar to the last one, I'm not going to go into it in as much depth, but as you can see, you have your content calendar, all your content ideas, your links, and published videos, which follows a very similar, if not exact, format to the projects page. But as you can see in the middle, we have a couple more pages that we get to utilize. Over here on the left, we currently see that we have analytics, audience feedback, and a follower tracker. Over here on the right, we're looking at my affiliates, brands and sponsors, and a monetization overview. These 6 pages all come down to what I use on a weekly basis, from tracking my posts, knowing what's going wrong and what's going right, having a real overview of everything and anything that's going on within my social media, and at the same time Being able to track any affiliate or sponsorship that's going on with an entire monetization overview of all of those databases combined into one for total revenue, and you get to set a goal and have all of your revenue go towards that goal. The only other thing that I'd want to show you on this page is the analytics, and basically all you have to do is go into the published videos and set a video performance. That's going to do everything in the back end for you and make sure that the analytics are, properly set. As you can see, it popped up, but I'm going to leave that for another video, as this content HQ is a little bit more than just a page. It's really its own dashboard within itself. Now, if we pop back over to the home page, you'll see that there's 4 pages that are left. And 4 of those pages, I actually have in-depth tutorials on my YouTube channel already. So the fitness tracker, I'll link right in the top left right here. And the contacts and subscription tracker actually follow the exact same setup as the link manager. So I can post that right over here in the top right. You can choose either one you want to go to next, just so you can finalize everything in the template and really have the best understanding of how to utilize it to its maximum potential. And with that being said, I hope you guys enjoyed this tutorial. I wanted to keep it as quick and to the point as I could so you can get the most out of the everyday OS dashboard right away. I'll have more tutorials on my other templates coming out shortly, so stay tuned for those. And if you're interested in recreating the setup or diving deeper into Notion databases, check out my in-depth database video. I'll link it right here so you can click on it and get started. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you soon.